This past week, lots of conversation specifically on social media. We'll touch a little bit on what was said by Kotu's boss Francis Atwoli on postponing general elections until Kenya has a referendum, and then that conversation touching on MCAs and members of parliament to have degrees for the 2022 general election. Trust me, that has really generated a lot of responses, especially if you follow the stories on social media. And of course, the quote-unquote formation of a new political alliance between Jubilee and ODM. And that has also generated quite a little bit of feedback as well. So talks for a pre-election alliance between the ruling Jubilee Party and the Orange Democratic Movement are at an advanced stage. Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju has confirmed that the country's two biggest political parties will be signing a pact soon. We understand that the two parties are exploring a plan to field one presidential candidate in next year's presidential election. I want us to listen to what the Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju had to say on this before we speak to our guests in studio.
If we reach an agreement in terms of coming up with an alliance, which is really on the cards, and that's what we are working towards, then we should have one presidential candidate for Jubilee and ODM. We've always had the blessings of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and that's why we are working very often together in Parliament. We would not be able to work in Parliament together to support certain motions and bills together if it wasn't without the express permission of the two-party leaders.
We have the blessings of the two-party leaders, ODM leader Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. Allow me to introduce our guests in studio. We have Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer and a political analyst as well. Thank you so much. It's been such a long time since you guys came to the studio, surely.
Oh, yes. Now we are here.
Karibu. Thank you for making time for us here on Checkpoint. We also have Gabriel Mudhuma, who's a political analyst. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Linda, thank you for having us. COVID manenos, but we are here.
Yeah, several months down the line. Yeah. Let me begin with you, Mudhuma. ODM and Jubilee are thinking of fielding one presidential candidate. Raphael Tuju saying, look, this has the blessings of both Uhuru and Raila. What are your thoughts about this particular alliance?
Well, I told you, Linda, I think some time back, but this one we did, I think, virtually. It's open season. People are going to talk, parties are going to talk, coalitions are going to be made, and we've just seen the beginning of really what I told you. So I think they may go ahead. I mean, this is how all coalitions began. You remember TNA and URP, you remember, KANU coming in, you remember ANC going with ODM, and these coalitions were made. However, it will be too, I don't want to say it's too early, but I think at this point, if they are to go that way, there's nothing wrong with them starting to discuss. But the issue, I think, in my own view, it will be too early in the day. Because there are so many players who are emerging and coming out. Okay. You have the likes of Kalonzo, you have the likes of Musalia, you have the likes of, Mukisa, notwithstanding some of the things that we've been able to see.
Which we are not discussing.
I know we are not discussing, and I just said, and many other leaders who are emerging. Yeah. So thinking everybody will come with their own party. Okay. If we are looking into building a coalition or coalitions, two great coalitions. I've always called upon building great coalitions, strengthening coalitions that will stand the test of time. Okay. And the test of time, I mean, Linda, coalitions that will go past 5 years. So if, ODM and Jubilee have started talking, but now we also have to ask, what did Jubilee? Because we believe a big
Jubilee
part
A and
of
Jubilee B.
Well, truth be said, a big part of Jubilee, or what made Jubilee, have kind of already left. They've made their own party, if you will. So it's kind of dicey at this point. But again, Linda, let us wait and see. I told you, it's very early in the day. Let the talks continue, and you'll see, sometimes where the chips may fall. It's not all done. Yeah.
Okay, so from where you sit, it's a good thing, but it's just too early.
It is. I mean, at the end of the day, people are talking. They're saying, okay, this is the vehicle we think or we feel may give us a presidential candidate and may help us win 2022.
Okay.
Other people, other leaders are also going to have a sit down and they are going to start discussing the very same way.
Whether there's lots of conversation going on, you have like 13 months before the next general election. But this is why this is particularly interesting for me. You remember a couple of days there was talk that Uhuru Kenyatta said he's going to back a NASA member, right? So that's either Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, or Musalia Mudavadi. And now you have Jubilee saying they will work with NASA. What does that tell you?
Linda, this is what we call stopgap measure.
Okay.
It's a stopgap measure to hold in as the people look at the fate of BBI. Originally, it was to be BBI. By this time, we'd have been talking about referendum done, and we are saying who is going to be president, who is going to be prime minister. And the truly keeps on telling you, our president is very young. He's not going anywhere. I also told you here, the president cannot be fighting so much over Jubilee. Yet, according to you, he's supposed to retire.
Again, that is the same president who says he's going home.
Yes, but he could not be fighting so hard over Jubilee.
Okay.
So the BBI now is between a rock and a hard place. You still don't know whether the judges are still going to look at it nicely or what. So which stopgap measure do you bring in? You bring in something to give people hope. Hope that president will back Baba and Baba will work with the president. That is what we have now. It is not about Jubilee or ODM. In this country, people don't go for elections with the same party. You should know that. Okay. Please, the last time Raila went for election with ODM was a long time. It was originally NAC, not NAC. There was CORD, then there is NASA. Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto went with the TNA and UDA, then Jubilee. So please, don't just look at this party. There will be and there could be Handshake Party of Kenya or Muduma Party of Kenya. There will be. It is the individuals. So ask yourself, if President Uhuru and Honorable Raila walks, if Raila walks with the president up to the end, there will be some arrangement. Whatever name it will be crafted then. So let's not be overexcited about Jubilee and so on. I was telling some people in my village, you know, earlier this year and last year, I used to tell them, these people are saying, oh, whether you are not with Baba, you never know. I said, one day, you'd be surprised. As we are the ones crafting who is the candidate, here or out. And we will come and say, for Uhuru Kenyatta, there will be these seats for him from Luoland. Okay. And for Raila Odinga, there will be these seats from Kikuland. So they will be allocated. And if yours is allocated for Luoland, Uhuru will take his Luos. If yours is allocated in Kikuland, Raila will take his Kikuyus. And Uhuru, the president's Kikuyus will be told, you know, your seat, we have allocated the other side. What I'm telling Kenyans, there will be, if they work together, if Baba does not start Tibim along the way, they'll work together. And something will be worked where Honorable Raila is helped, supported in a way. Whatever that way.
Why would he need to be supported to be helped?
Because if Uhuru does not help, he can't be president. Let's get these facts. You need the support of the big guy. Somebody who has been there. You know, when you are supported by a sitting president, it means many things. But if he starts telling immediately like the past, or you say, hey, can be, I've seen someone supported here, you know, the president has been like that. Yes, it will be the same. But if you get the support of the president, one up there supporting you, Yani silver and gold is flowing freely. Power. You saw Kabuchai. You saw the elections in Kabuchai and Matungu. Did you see power? Did you see some people?
The power that you saw during
that power. You see some people, you go there with your vehicle and you are stopped. And you are told, this vehicle in a Fanyewa inspection station, and that's what power is. And it delays you. And even if people are waiting for you, you can necessarily loosen. So support of the president is very vital if you want to go in.
Don't buy that, Linda, because you know Akiliweda was here in 2002, and he saw the powers of the incumbency. Remember 2002? So don't pay that.
I was just about to say that.
Don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
What we should be paying attention to, first of all, is the statement that you're saying that the president said he would support an NASA leader. So Linda, let me, and this is my own view again. Now, I don't have the facts as to that statement. But I honestly don't believe the president said that. Again,
no, it is.
Yeah, thank you.
He didn't.
I don't think he said that because...
So he was misquoted.
Yeah, because honestly...
their own things.
No, let me tell you.
The audio people, they read their own
I would honestly believe...
No, but let me ask you. Hold on. No, Mudhuma, hold on.
Yeah.
You want to tell me he was misquoted or he didn't say it and the deputy president responded to it?
You know what? I do not think, honestly, I do not think the president can say that because...
Yeah.
We all know he has an element of intelligence that will tell him NASA is gone. And the reason why I'm saying this, already, the minute that statement came out, you heard what Musalia said, Honorable Musalia.
Yeah.
He said, what NASA are you talking about? We bolted out of... We don't believe... Kalonzo came out, you know, chastising, castigating Raila to an extent, saying, hey, boss, I cannot support you again.
Can we listen, hold on, can we listen to what Kalonzo Musyoka had to say on working with Raila Odinga?
The fellow on the earth to go and support the third time a presidential candidate, all right, without a measure of reciprocity.
Mimi ni wananchi. Simeinuka na wananchi. Ndio baba. Mimi ndio na wananchi.
So clearly NASA is gone.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think it's actually ODM that actually came out and said, they are the ones who actually made that statement. And I remember Edwin Sifuna saying, I mean, these parasites, we cannot, I mean, when we needed them in Uhuru Park, they were nowhere to be seen. And so you remember when the parties, the political parties, you know, the consortia gave out the money, you know, ODM said, this is our chunk. We don't know what you people are talking about. And it was quite a lot of money. So having said, I think, Linda, we have to be very clear in some of the statements that are coming out.
Okay.
And I know, you know, heading to 2002, there's going to be a lot of politicians who are going to get a lot of what you call misquoting. Okay. So sometimes I think we need to go back to the realization that sometimes when you report facts, you know, it actually helps people to engage. And when, you know, people come out with some harebrained schemes to just rattle people and have people go into different tangents and to see the reactions. And I think we are doing a public, on the Mwananchi wa Kawaida, a lot of disservice. So
let me ask you, does it bother you, if at all, that you now have a governing party working very closely with the opposition to a point where people have a conversation about fielding one candidate?
No, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because, you see, politics is about who employs the best strategy.
Okay.
I've always said that. It does not bother me that ODM is talking with Jubilee. It won't bother me a minute that, you know, you hear ANC in even KANU, you know, have started or have opened conversation or negotiations with UDA, or the party that is coming up in Pwani, you know, the Pwani party. Have started. No, it won't bother me. The thing is, Linda, at this point, what matters to me is the kind of leader or leaders we are going to have, you know, post-2022. To me, that is the conversation I think we should be having, because that is where value is created. By the way, if we just talk about how parties are going to just talk and discuss, and where is the value? What leaders are we going to have? So I think the substance of our debate should be, what kind of leadership do we expect post-2022?
And I absolutely love that point where you're saying we need to look at the leaders that we will have in 2022, because now there's a conversation about the qualification of MCS, the qualification of members of parliament, and perhaps people saying Kenyans need to sit down and think about the leaders they want in 2022, having gone through this couple of years. But whether I want you to get the final word on this handshake sort of marriage. If Jubilee and ODM decide they want to work together, yeah, and you're saying, yes, that's a plot, that's a way they can go. What does this mean for Deputy President William Ruto? Is this a force that you can say can work against William Ruto? Can they win against William Ruto? Where does this leave the Deputy President?
The Deputy President, I've always said, he's a man who budgets with 2022, 2027, 2032, when we will now meet.
You and who?
And him, if he has not finished his term. So time is on his side,
yeah,
and he knows it and is working with it. But he is marshalling his troops. And as it stands now, only Honorable Raila can give him a run for his money. Only Honorable Raila stands a chance to defeat him if Honorable Raila is supported by President Uhuru. But if he was not supported by President Uhuru, either President Uhuru chooses to be neutral or decides to support his deputy, then Honorable Raila will be in big trouble. Okay. So it all depends with which side President Uhuru goes and what President Uhuru's backyard thinks. It is not, get this clear, it is not working on parties. In Kenya, it is not party, it is individuals. If Honorable Raila was today declared that he has joined Jubilee, we the ODM members, not me, but we.
Are you an ODM member, Weda?
Myself, I left ODM long time. The only President who can drag me back to it. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't go back even if Honorable Raila was president. So, if he declared that he has joined Jubilee today, I'm telling you, everybody in Luo Nyanza will be Jubilee. So it is not parties. It is the individuals. Okay. When President Uhuru joined Jubilee, and William Samoei Arap Ruto, the chief chicken seller, joined Jubilee, every Kalenjin, every Kikuyu became Jubilee. Before they were TNA, as we were in the Uhuru TNA, the deputy president had his on UDM, and they got into power. So it is individuals. Kambas do not know why power wherever. If Kalonzo was to join UDA, they will be there. That is how it is, just the individual. So if we gather these individuals together, and it is for Honorable Raila to regard the NASA people that is scattered because of money and that false swearing in, we had in Uhuru Park, you need to regard them and then talk to the son of Jomo and say, the son of Jomo, be with us here. Because this other fellow, he seems he is very eloquent. He seems he has gathered some coins. He seems he is a titular. You know, titular like boy, you are always on the campaign trail. Even when you dream campaigns. So he can move faster when Baba and his team, if you can see even Honorable Kalonzo, you can see the face, age is settling in. So they can't do 10 rallies in a day. So they need the state power, where at times they find the chief Chikazela will find some of his rallies cancelled. You know the way referee can say, red card. Otherwise, it is the combination of those two and the other leaders. They need, Honorable Raila needs President Uhuru, number one. He needs Musalia Mudavadi. He needs Kalonzo Musyoka. And he needs Doctari also. On Gideon Moi. Also on this side. So that he tells Kenya, this is us. This is the face Pentagon, of Kenya. I think this will be hexagon or megagon versus just an individual. Those are the things he needs. Okay, listen. I like what Smudhuma said, that we need to rethink the kind of leaders that we have. And Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen has proposed an amendment to the Elections Act of 2012 with an intention of scrapping off Section 22, which requires those aspiring to be members of Parliament or members of the County Assembly in the coming general election to have a university degree in order to be eligible. According to the amendment bill, the only requirement for MPs and MCAs to contest for elective positions should be the ability to read and write in English or Kiswahili language or literacy in Kenyan Sign Language. I want us to listen to the sentiments of members of Parliament on this.
In some unique circumstances, if Corona contributed, Mr. Speaker, let's give a listening, so that we'll be able to know. Leadership is not only about academic qualifications, Mr. Speaker.
The crisis in Kenya is not about lack of academic papers. It's about lack of integrity. And there's no evidence that if you have many papers, then probably you have more integrity than the others.
There's this story of leaders are born. But leaders, when they are born, all of us, we didn't have any experience. We didn't have any qualification. We went to school. Some became doctors. Mr. Speaker, we cannot have people who have no basic education qualification to participate in the function of budget-making process of this House.
Let us be serious. You expect the chair of budget committee like Kanini Kega here, looking at budget estimates, and membership of that committee has people who have not gone beyond standard 7, standard 8. Just because sometimes they are politically correct, let us retain this law as is.
If we then are seen that we make a law and then we reverse it so that the donkeys can catch up with the horses, we will never make a law that will be obeyed.
Okay, very interesting conversation. But before we speak to Mudhuma and Weda, I want to bring in two gentlemen who've been with us from the beginning of this entire conversation. Chege Maura, MCA in Ngara, and Michael Ogada, who's an MCA in Embakasi. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Checkpoint this evening. This amendment touches on your jobs. And I'd like to get a quick reaction from you, Chege. What are your thoughts about MCAs, MPs must have degrees for the 2022 general election? The Deputy President says this is discriminatory. It will deny people the right to have leaders they want. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me. First and foremost is that the County Assemblies Forum is a body that represents all the assemblies, and it's a view of the membership that the law is discriminatory in the sense that while it is important that we have quality debates, what is it that we want to cure? Is it the quality of the debate? Is it the decorum of the members? Is it the legislative or representational or oversightal functions of the member of the assembly to be able to deliver his functions or her functions? Take it that it's about 5% of the members of the Kenyan population who have degrees. So while we feel that it's a step in the right direction, but then again, as a country, are we there yet? Is it that all the corners of the country, that the members who actually make the voting population, are they first and foremost able to make that right decision? Number one. And then number two, is it that if the principle is that if you can vote for me, because personally I have a degree, is it possible that you who is voting for me, can I also be able to vote for you? Because universal suffrage means that all the basic requirements of voting should apply for all. So while it's good that we also want to improve the quality of the debate, we also want to improve the decorum and all that, it should be able, it should be a clear and a level playing field for all the people who call themselves voters. So that if I feel that my education has made me go out and look for votes, and I feel that I'm better equipped to do that, to run for the position like anyone else, then again, I should also not be afraid of people who don't have the same education as me to run for the same position. So okay. In as much as we see the
argument, hold on, I'm sorry to interject, but the argument has been, it is not a matter of having people with less education or more education. The question has been, are MCAs and MPs at a point where they understand what they're doing? What is your role as an MCA? What is your role as an MP? And do you understand really what you're doing? And I will put this question directly to you. Having been an MCA for a while, have you ever gotten to a point where you think that perhaps what is being talked about, the degrees and everything, would make a difference in how you'd carry out your job as an MCA?
And precisely what I'm saying, that yes, if you look at it in terms of members understanding what they're supposed to do, the members also didn't bring themselves there. Yeah, it's members of the public that brought them there. So I think we should look for another way, maybe build the capacity of the institutions to be able to support the members to understand their role and to be able to effectively vote for certain particular positions.
Michael Ogada, thank you as well for staying with us. Let me get your quick reaction, because I know you are a master's holder and you have been an MCA for a while. What are your thoughts about this amendment? Does it make sense to you? Is it discriminatory? Would it improve the level of governance, if at all?
Thank you, Linda. I did give my position when I was with you the other time when I visited the studio, and my position remains the same. Because having been a councillor for 2 terms and an MCA for 2 terms, I've been able to really understand how we operate. And one thing that I need to really confirm is that we do agree that for you to be a leader, not necessarily should you have some of the qualification, that is academic qualification. You need some wisdom. But you see, when it comes to leadership, you want to lead people in this country, there must be some basic principles. There must be some basic laws. There must be some basic qualifications. Not simply you have wisdom, now you say you are competent to be a leader. You must have some guiding principles. What are the guiding principles? You must have some basic qualifications, such that when even the IBC is going to really pick your papers and check, they've got something to check. You cannot tell the commissioners who are going to be there, the returning officers, to look for wisdom, to look at your face and see how wise you are, that you are competent to be a leader. That is not neither here nor there. Another thing that is happening is that in the assembly, when I was a councillor, we used to just be voting. But currently things are different. We are legislators. We really pass very serious laws. We really oversight very serious people. And you know very well that in the government or the county government, the staffs we have there are quite competent. They are quite qualified. Most of them are degree holders. And as they continue working, some of them continues to go on with their education. So the educational standards are very, very high. So when you bring somebody for a dropout, that dropped out in, let's say, the standard 7 or a standard 8 dropout, and you want this person to really oversight somebody who has seriously gone to school to look at the competence, because some of the things we are talking about is corruption issues. You see, for you to know somebody is corrupt, you must really be involved in nitty-gritties. You must really study the documents. You must be able to really understand that this person actually made some serious mistakes. And these things you can't do just simply because you have wisdom. You must have some.
I need to interject a little bit. Hold on. Mheshimiwa, I need to interject. I'm sorry, but I've heard you that yes, there are serious issues that are discussed that perhaps wisdom will not help someone. You need proper academic qualifications to be able to perform your role adequately. Allow me to end it at that for the two of you, Shege Mwaura, MC Ngara, and Michael Ogara, MC Embakasi. Thank you so much for your time on Checkpoint this evening. Allow me to begin with you, just listening into the two gentlemen. So Shege says, look, it's got to go beyond papers. It's the people who vote for us. They believe we can do this job. Ogara, on the other hand, says there are several things or there are several functions that we're supposed to carry out that we cannot if you do not have adequate academic qualifications. What are your thoughts about MCAs, MPs should have degrees by 2022?
Thank you. Let the listeners get this very clear.
Okay.
That requirement had been made earlier at the beginning, immediately after 2010 Constitution.
Yeah, almost
but they were given leeway. People were given another 10 years to acquire those things. Okay. Instead, some of them went into just corruption, and they didn't go to school. A few of them went and bought some certificates. Again, so we must be talking about genuine degrees. But let's get this thing clear. I don't know, Linda, whether you've heard members of a senate of a university arguing and fighting each other. I don't know whether KTN have a record of one senate of any university where the professors are fighting each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. Even our National Assembly, I don't know whether you have heard where they occasionally throw up, kick each other, do whatever. But when you go to these ones, the MCAs, and even the original county councils, any small thing, physical. Why? Because we live in a country will live this earth. God made it to function by knowledge. When you are born with instinct and potential. That's why when you are born or you give birth to a child, Linda, they know how to say nye, 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 and to eat. But from there, you start infusing knowledge into that child. 1 + 1, this is red, boo for bell, coo for cat, and the mind expands. And we are parameters. So when you listen to a genuinely trained university graduate, and you listen to somebody who purports to be wise and he left in class 7, you find that somebody has a problem. Why? Our legislature, our way of executing functions is either in Kiswahili or English. Now, we are not born with this English. You learn it. So first of all, if you can't communicate, if you can't understand the nitty-gritty, you can't understand tough English like quislings and charlatans and vultures of reaction. When tough people talk, now you are lost. What do? You slap them if you have not understood what they have done. That is why when we are talking about now managing the country, when we are talking about running affairs, we need people whose minds have been developed to an extent.
Okay.
If you see me, I'm just a human being. But my mind has been developed as a lawyer. Your mind has been developed elsewhere. His mind has been developed elsewhere. But when we are walking, you just see us, we are all human beings. So some people, their minds have not been developed. Okay. They left in class 8, form 2, form 3. That's why there is seed to violence. Education is critical. Our people perish, God says, not because of lack of prayer or fasting, but because of lack of knowledge. Okay. It is sad when you see the way educated people, they love massaging the punctured egos of people whose education is less. Oh, you don't need education, you need wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge and understanding.
Okay.
If you are talking about wisdom, you have 3 things: knowledge, understanding, then when you apply it, you are wise. It is not just saying, you know, I'm wise. That is not. You must have knowledge. And if you have knowledge, God has promised you will perish. That's why they fight like Brokenge in their MC assemblies when they're supposed to be debating. Have you seen lawyers punching each other? We debate, and we talk, and we say, learned friend, and we argue because the brain has been developed. We need, my brother should know when I hear people saying, oh, it will be discriminatory. In fact, if that law was to be amended, I'm sure some serious judge is going to declare the amendment unconstitutional. Why? Because if you want to be president in this country, you are required to have a minimum qualification. To be a governor, you are required to be whatever. So when you give some people excuse, then you are favoring them. That you are discriminating in their favor. And a serious judge will very quickly, in 2 sentences, declare that the amendment is unconstitutional. What Warudi Shule was
Mudhuma, first of all, your quick thoughts, and then, is leadership about qualifications? Would you equate it to that?
You know, Linda, as much as many people would like to interpret something to do with education and leadership, and, you know, taking even somebody like myself, who has really greatly and immensely, you know, have had, you know, a life-changing career based on education alone. And there are so many people you thank for that, all the way from my primary school teachers and secondary and my college professors. I wouldn't want to equate still education with leadership or integrity because of 2 things. One, education is not the yardstick that guarantees quality leadership.
Quality leadership, yes.
Integrity guarantees that. However, both of them, education and quality leadership, are of great essence because of 2 things. If you have a population that is educated, you then will believe that they know better. And when you know better, by nature, you do better. So I think where things get hazy for so many people is because education, we want to tie it with leadership. But education in so many other spheres where the body of commerce, you know, is concerned, education does matter. Because, Linda, the last thing you want to go into a hospital and find a doctor who is telling you, well, you know what, I do not know my qualifications, but I can operate on you, you will run so quickly. Because on that sphere, on that commerce sphere, you must have the education and the knowledge to engage. And here is where I'll agree 100% with Weda. But when it comes to leadership, something else must transcend that boundary. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that education does not necessarily produce good leaders. And the reason is this: education is not an independent variable. Education must find its place into responsibility for it to produce good results. Go read the good case of Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. The first thing he did, it was not only education, but he took people with experience, people who he knew were strong in delivery, people who understood what was ailing Singapore and what solutions were available as a matter of supreme urgency and importance. That is why Albert Einstein tells us that education is the ability of the human mind to think. Now, if you cannot think, even with 40 degrees, you are still lost.
Done.
All right? So, education is not an independent variable. It must go out there and grip something else for it to count. It must grip responsibility. It must grip things like honesty. It must grip integrity for it to work. Otherwise, with that education, whether you have 60 degrees and you are still reporting to work and doing things crazily, that you're just because you have education, even if you're a teacher, you are not attending class, how is that education helping you? And that is why I say education must be combined with other virtues for it to be present. Now, when we talk again or bring education in the sphere of leadership, it matters in this way. That, Linda, the last thing you want is to be represented by somebody who's not knowledgeable. It will actually look and sound a little bit funny, since most of our MCAs, really, and elected members, do actually go out of this country to things they call benchmarking. I do not know what that means. But you will find somebody who's out there benchmarking, and they cannot put even a straight sentence together. And then at the end of it, they crown it all with a smile and say, I come from Kenya. You feel like, you know, that is what I'm talking about. You must have the knowledge and the ability to engage. Linda, let me tell you, the 21st century is as sophisticated as they come. You need leaders who can engage. Listen, we are actually jumping from playing the local games. We must actually transcend from winning the locality wars and start winning universality. So
basically what you're saying is good leadership is an amalgamation of several other things.
Totally. It's not just education. And I'm sorry to so many people who may feel, no, education doesn't matter. Yes, sometimes you may think this is not it. And by the way, the numbers don't look good. The numbers that you saw last time, the graduates in this country are only 1.2 million. Those numbers don't look good. When you look at primary school, if I'm going by the statistics that I saw, it's only 8.8 million. So where do you leave all these guys in TVETs and what have you? And that's why I saw, I think it was yesterday, or is it today? I don't know. I saw a filing in court by this group who want this, you know, that particular, bill
the lawyers
quashed.
representing the MCAs.
But
that even the Deputy President spoke about it. Could we listen into what Deputy President William Ruto had to say about this provision that is causing quite a storm?
Article 38 of the same constitution says and prohibits any unreasonable restrictions being placed in the way of voters or candidates to be able to vie or vote in any election or referendum.
Deputy. Kweda.
I said it is very sad that the highly educated have a simple and clever way of massaging the egos of people who
That's
have
Deputy
little...
President who he has a
he
PhD.
is doctor in science, and he would leave his busy schedule to go and do those things. You see Murkomen, masters, serious, university lecturer, but he goes to the village and tells them, don't worry about the Dukasaon. Dukasaon, akona haja. Let me tell you. You cannot be Minister for Finance, Republic of Kenya, 3-point-something trillion budget, and you'll understand very little about economics. What you know is herding goats and fishing with a suit like me in Lake Victoria. Then Uhuru loves me and he says, Banaweda, because I love you so much, Minister for Finance, you will not understand Millennium Development Goals. You will not understand AGOA. You will not understand taxation principles. Education expands the brain. It is what it enables you to think critically. I am here and spanning and spinning nice language and answering questions which I didn't prepare for. You will say and answer them. Not because I crammed them, but because my mind has been trained to a level where I can think and think appropriately. Some of these people resort to violence. It is because the education is so little that they have not been cultured. Please let us not say, oh, leadership. Leadership is dependent on what do you lead. If you are going to lead a team of doctors in conducting a surgery, you can't come and say, I know how to lead. You'll be told, what's your education? If you're going to lead the research on how we are going to get vaccine against coronavirus, you are going to say, are you a virologist? You are not just going to come and say, you know, I'm a good leader. Some of the people that have been placed in certain critical leadership have failed as well because they don't understand. You hear even yesterday we read the budget. There's no allocation for research. None. Because the leaders don't understand the value of research. So now we are crying in the forest, hoping that the forest gods will help us. And if the Wazungus refuse with their vaccine, and they have said we have closed bad, we are still treating our people, we just cry and say, oh, we are the poor nation, because we cannot plan. There are principles. You have seen the MCAs. These are the only places where they pay car park attendants. Their salaries are paid ahead of doctors and nurses. That convoluted thinking is more backed by lack of education, and therefore inability to comprehend. Your way to understand things is convoluted. So you look and say, how much money do I need? It is only these people who are now saying, I can lead. What can you lead? You can lead your wife and children, but I can tell you, go into homes where people are highly educated. Go into these premium schools. You see the people who take their children there, the way they guide their children, the way they understand what education is. When Professor Magoa talks, we say he's too arrogant. Not that he's too arrogant. His brain power is so superior. So when you don't understand basic things, he does not understand. Let those who want to ascend to a position of leadership, like MCA, those who can have to make a decision of life and death over our lives, be able to have had their brains developed to a level where they can comprehend constitutionalism, they can comprehend the world affairs, they can comprehend. I don't know. Let's take when Kenya got independence, 1965, Tanzania, Uganda. Look at how we have gone. Uganda somehow had a buffoon for president called Idi Amin Dada Jako Kwai. Now, go and read that history, and then you'll tell you what education is all about. And then go to Nyerere and see what education is all about. Go to Jomo Kenyatta, and you'll see and say, there is an element of education. Look at Kibaki when he was president just the other day. He was a bit unwell, old, but because he was highly educated, you go and explain to him, Your Excellency, you want to do this road, they cost like this, say, where do you get the money? This is, oh yes, it's approved. But if you are going to improve, to tell my brother, God forbid, my brother Mike Mbuvi-Sonko, President of the Republic of Kenya, you want to explain that the Americans are saying this, they may not understand. I'm not saying that is wrong. I am saying education is vital the world over.
Linda, let me add something very quickly from what he said. And by the way, that's actually quite relevant, what you've just said. Linda, you see, for the longest, I think it is good, like what the Deputy President has said, we should not restrict. It is good. And probably somebody can support him and say, yeah, but because we have many people who can be leaders. But, you know, actually what the Deputy President may be doing in a way, is to actually bring or boomerang that idea back to us. And the reason why I'm saying back to us is because of this. We must use our God-given talent, the ability to think in selecting our leaders. Now, you may have a vast sea of leaders who are not informed, all right? But when it comes to selecting the leaders, we need to rise above the silliness. and look at among these leaders who qualifies. Yes, the field may actually be open. They have degrees, they don't have degrees, and the Constitution bears us all witness that, you know, if I'm going this way is restrictive. But that means, Linda, there was a time I watched a debate, and I think it was done by all media houses. On one point, there was a gentleman called Peter Kenneth, there was one called Miguna, there was one called Mike Sonko, there was one Kidero. But look at what we went for, all right? Even with that constitution. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying we actually went for the worst in that group. And I say this without fear of contradiction. The people who probably would have made change, we were afraid of them because they don't represent us, or we feel as if they don't represent us. But this is a tragedy, Linda. Somewhere along our choice, by nature, it creates a reputation capital that will trail me and you for a very long time. The pain that somebody like Sonko would have done in a great city like Nairobi, we may feel it after 5-6 years. That is why I'm saying, as a matter of principle that the Constitution has laid bare, it may be restrictive, it may be, okay, we don't dare, let's do degrees or no degrees. Yes, they may pass that test. And even that bill comes to a place where it may not pass. But remember, me and you and Wakili here carries the power of selection.
Okay. So what we're all agreeing, education is important, because someone would say, you see, like you have MCS, they still take their children to school. If they knew the teachers were not learning, they wouldn't even take their children there. So let's look for solution, assuming, because you have less than a year to 13 months to the next general election. Would you say that perhaps working on a postgraduate degree, okay, I don't know how to put it, perhaps you can have some training for MCS who are not able to get the degree, right? But they have been there for a while and they basically understand what's happening. Would that be a solution for me?
It actually could. And also, you know, I had somebody saying,
you know, back in the day,
you know, I had somebody say back in the day, you know, our grandfathers,
like postgraduate leadership,
somebody said, you know, our forefathers, our great, you know, forefathers never went to school, they didn't have education, you know, but there was way knowledge was passed from one generation to the other, and what have you. You see, to that I'll say this, Linda, we are not living those days. The world has evolved, the world has changed. Nowadays, countries are not recognized by where they stand on the map. They are recognized by the material. The weight of a nation is her universal appeal, materially. That is how nations are being recognized. And that is why sometimes people will say, you know, Africa is the dark continent. It's in, you know, it's backward and everything, you know, and all those crazy things that they say. It is because we have really not harnessed our own continent. We don't know the value that lies within this great continent because we have not pushed the envelope further. So when you come to saying the issue about, you know, postgraduate and what have you, I will support it because, you know why? The more people are educated in a society, the more people become knowledgeable. The more people know things, the more they become better. That is actually an equation that works. It has worked almost everywhere in the world. But with the same breath, I will tell you, education, and I'll repeat, it's not an independent variable. It needs other virtues for it to make or become valuable.
We're at 30 seconds. Why are you laughing at us?
What I'm laughing. You know, if you went to Alliance, which I didn't go, but you went to Olembo like me and then Nairobi University, you can't make your own uniform the way Sonko made. There's something education brings into your life, Linda. Education. Why do these guys fight? In a small thing, they can't reason, so they ngumi. But where people reason, the reason capacity is trained. And we have parameters of measuring them. Yeah. These people have been given 10 years. Don't talk about 1 year. This law was passed many years ago. 2010. And then he said, we are postponing the implementation of this one to enable people to get. It is only that some people, in fact, the younger ones have no excuse because primary school is mandatory. It's mandatory according to law. So if they didn't finish, they need to tell us, why did they defy the law? We need to arrest them first. Yeah. Secondary school, We allowed them. We even allowed them, they call Marube 70, to go back to primary and go to secondary. You have no excuse. We are not saying you must have gone to school then. But this country has given everybody opportunity. Imagine, even at 60, you pass KCP, you will be called to Kenya High. That is a beautiful country. Now, these people, they just refuse. Then they come here and say, change the law to favor us. We don't want these Ngorokos making decisions for us. They don't understand. That's why the salaries in most counties, they pay parking attendants, they pay the askaris who beat up women in the markets, but they don't pay nurses. They don't pay doctors. And they see nothing wrong with that.
They're okay.
So we are telling them, go back to school. I know the deputy president is looking for votes. Now, when you're looking for votes and you go to people who are, people have to be given sympathy. So you go and tell them, don't worry, education is not leadership, you have wisdom. And when you see them, they don't have wisdom. That's why they are not becoming president. Because presidency, degree. But they all want, I want to be president. So if you tell me, go back to school, we go, let us not massage the egos of these people. They go to school or they get other aspects of leadership. Okay. There are many. We have leadership in church. Let them be born again. They come. We will give them. But MCA making laws, parliament making laws. No.
Budgets. Okay, listen, I'm not going to let the two of you go before we listen into this next bite. So, Central Organization of Trade Unions, COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli has spoken of a plan to postpone the 2022 general election if the process to amend the Constitution through the Building Bridges initiative fails through. Atwoli says proponents of the BBI will seek to move to the Supreme Court if they lose in the Court of Appeal and start the process afresh if they fail at the highest court in the land. Listening.
If there is no BBI, we will postpone elections until we get BBI. And it is us who can postpone. It will not be leaders, it will not be political leaders, it is us who get problems. And if there will be no BBI, there will be no election. That one I can tell you for free. Because we don't want to die. We have been dying after 5 years. And workers are the people 2017. It is us who proposed revisiting of our 2010 constitution to look into it.
Muduma, let me begin with you.
No, you don't give credence to imbalance. That's not what the Constitution is. That's not what the Constitution says. I don't think that is something which we need even to dwell in. Linda, we go back to what I told you. What kind of leaders do we expect? Yes. What kind of leaders are we going to crop up? What kind of leaders should we expect? And what must me, you, and Wakili Weda here do to get quality leaders? Look at that. How do you go against the Constitution when the Constitution is stipulated what must happen? Are you telling me we are already, or you are ready, because he did not mention political leaders, he said him. How are you going to go about it? And that's why I'm saying I think some of these things, you can't give credence to imbalance. You tell me. If Wakil is here, how do you go about it? How do you go about it?
Learn French.
Yeah.
You dream about it.
Exactly.
That's what my brother, I think my brother Atwoli, congratulations, he was elected in an international body. He's a great man. He's a great trade unionist. He's a man I highly respect. But also the way he has run COTU, he thinks Kenya is COTU. Kenya contains many people, including people like Weda, who love President Uhuru so much. But we can tell him, Your Excellency, if you don't amend BBI, if you don't amend the Constitution, which allows you to extend your term, in the BBI, there was no proposal to change the date of election.
Yeah, to postpone it, yes.
So even if BBI was to come, it would still not work. So let us not confuse the people of Kenya. They have always said there is no violence. Now we have not had violence. Baba said, handshake, quiet. So even then we will plead with Baba and say, Baba, for the sake of Kenya and your grandchildren, let us have peace and stability and so on and so forth. So let nobody threaten us that there will be violence. I've always said there will be no violence in this country, and we rebuke the spirit of violence in Jesus' name. And those who talk about it, we rebuke your mouths in the name of it. There will be no violence, there will be peace, there will be stability, and elections will be free and fair. And God loves us, that will never fail. So those who are saying without BBI, he should have said without God there will be violence. But without BBI, there will be no BBI unless the court says so. And the way they are chest-thumping, the way they are provoking the courts, even the favorable ones, are already saying now these guys, So they can't say we will go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is saying, oh, so us, we are the jokers. Eh? So if they knew, I've always said, if they want some amendments, they would have abandoned the BBI, then they would have proposed a parliamentary process. Just tinker with a few seats, add 1 or 2 seats and something. Not the many things constituency, just 1 or 2 or 3, then you take it through parliament and then quickly referendum and we move on. But that wholesome BBI, which contains also judicial ombudsman, the judges look at it and say, yeah, we may have allowed constituencies, but they're also allowing some prefects who will remove us. This thing is convoluting the process. Now, when my brother Atwoli comes to say we will postpone elections,
and that is
maybe elections of Kotu, but elections of the Republic of Kenya, I will not be the person to urge my president to eat up his legacy by purporting to cling to power, purporting to bring in tricks, purporting to declare emergency. We say, Your Excellency, the son of Jomo. We have seen Gorofa Road from airport to Westlands. We have seen other Gorofa roads. We will remember you with that. Just leave, and then when we finish, and later on we do BBI and we amend, you'll come back as Prime Minister. But for now, let Kenya be in peace. God loves us so much that he has given us coming leaders like Muduma here, whether will be president 2032. Why should they be worried?
You're running mate.
You're going to be his running mate.
Of course.
Why not? Why not?
But we will not go through the forest. We will go through, me, I come from
that forest thing has brought a lot of issues, by the way.
Oh, you want me to come from where?
Please, I had a PCA or please. But not the forest, either Karura or wherever. No.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and for joining us on Checkpoint this evening. Gabriel Muthuma, political analyst, thank you so much for your time, always making time for us. We appreciate it. And Ambrose Weda as well, for speaking to us, political analyst and a lawyer. And before I forget, we had also Shege Mwaura, MCA Ngara, and Michael Ogada, MCA Embakasi. On that note, allow me to say Happy Father's Day to both of you.
Thank you so much.
You guys
and
do
to all
a
the
good
fathers
job.
at home.
Yeah? And we appreciate the work you do.
And remember the people of Kisumu, those of them who are undergoing through the COVID restrictions, those who have lost loved ones. We pray for you. May the Spirit of God be with you, protect you, see peace that surpasses all understanding. Let's not blame and say, oh, we had this and this. Let us just say, it is time that God will see us through, and we move on.
Amen. You may want to say that prayer for the entire country, not just Kisumu.
You know, now I'm talking about the entire country, yes, but my people.
Oh, okay.
Where the umbilical cord, you know the umbilical cord?
Yes.
Where is God? They say, whether it's just praying for everybody, he has forgotten us. And then you see some of them try to say, because Uhuru came. So
but you see, Linda, the protocols haven't changed. As we pray for them, you still need to tell them to wear their masks, to sanitize, and you keep social distance. No, you need to tell them.
If you refuse to do that, then you will ask some leaders.
In fact, I don't even think.
Go to Burundi, ask them. Whatever.
Linda, in fact, I don't even think it's a prayer item. That should be an action item.
Now, you know, some people need prayers.
No.
Okay, guys.
Some people you need to slap them silly. Some people you need to slap them silly. Via mask.
So, listen, thank you so much for watching Checkpoint. Allow me to end it at that. Have a good night and a great week ahead. I'm Linda Ogutu. Sleep well. Guys, gentlemen, thank you for your time on Checkpoint.